Hi and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to look at getting seed down. So I'm looking at putting down annual seed. This is all flower seed that I'm putting down today. I'm going to start them off in containers, tubs and seed trays, different bits and bobs that I've collected. So yeah, it's hard to believe we're back to this time of year really. Doesn't seem that long ago since I was doing it last year. But so I have, as I said, I have a couple of different containers here. The first one I'm going to be putting down is sunflower seed. So I have my little container here, which is, I think, was just for strawberries or something like that. Again, it has good drainage in it. I have my label done already. Very important to have your labels done. So that's sunflower giant. These are seed that I collected from sunflowers I grew last year, so I have plenty of seed in there, much more than what I need, but I'll be putting down maybe 15, 20 plants. I'll start them off in this and then they can be moved on. Again, this is just to get them going. So that's my first one, sunflower seeds. I have mallow then to put down here as well. So again, I haven't grown this before, so I've certainly seen it, and but I'm going to try that one today. These little tubs are handy actually if you wanted. If you had something like peppers or something that needed a bit maybe hotter, you could use the lid kind of as a small little propagator or something like that. Now I won't be using it, I'll probably take the lid off it, but again, it's handy. And I don't have enough labels today to go around. I only had 4 when I actually went to do it. So what I've done with them, I've stuck on to the side here. So again, I have the name on it and I have the date that I've planted it. So that's more than enough. It's just a bit of paper stuck on with some sellotape. So again, it's waterproof as well. And the sellotape will have the paper sealed in there. So again, that's my containers. Calendula. Again, I have some seed that has self-seeded from last year, so that's fine. But I'm going to put down some more here again. I think it's always good to have some in the background that you can add in when needed. A little tray for sweet pea here. I have 2 varieties. So I'm going to divide the tray into, so I have 2 triangles. And again, I've put on this side, this one is going to be just a mix. And then this one is Little Red Riding Hood. So that's my sweet pea, yeah. Again, similar with the cosmos, I have 2 different types of cosmos. I'm going to separate the tray again. But again, it's important to separate these ones, especially because this one is a mixed large seed packet and the other one would be dwarf. So it's good to kind of, because when they're kind of seedlings and small, it's very hard to tell the difference between the two until they get a bit older. In this larger seed tray here then, I'm going to put down some marigolds, and I'm going to be using these to grow alongside with my vegetables. So I'm going to be using them as kind of nearly a companion plant, kind of help ward off green fly and the likes of that. So again, I have 2 different varieties, which I'll split the tray down the center. So this one here is your orange flame, and this one here then is a dainty marionette. So again, that's actually, this is my little seed tray again. So just different seeds that I have collected. So here are the little marigold seeds here that I'll be putting down as well. So, and what else do I have then? Then last but not least, I have a wildflower here, Honesty. I was donated these by a student. It must have been last September or something like that. I got a bag of these. So again, I probably should have gone down already, and ideally you'd put them down straight into the ground. I'm just going to sow them here in the pot and then transplant them and see how they do. But I'm also going to put some in a different patch, just scatter them on the ground as well. But I'm going to get a good few of those going. So that's what I have. So basically, any ones that I need labels for, I have the labels done. Any ones I need to be stuck on, I have the labels stuck on already. It's good to have that stuff done already, and then it's easy to kind of break things down. So I'm just going to bring you outside, and we'll get these pots filled up with compost, and I'll show you how to get them down into the ground, sow the seed then. So here I have my sunflower seed. I'm going to just fill this tray first. I'm using, it's a seed and cutting compost, or a loam-based compost, that I'm going to use for some of my seed. If you only have a multi-purpose compost, that will do fine as well. So I'm just going to get a handful, and now sorry, I should have showed you, there is drainage holes in that container as well. Very important that you have drainage holes in it. Any larger clumps that you find in this compost, try and break them up. If you find any lumps then that haven't fully broken down, better to take them out, because they can, hinder root penetration and stuff like that. So again, you don't want to fill it right to the top or anything like that. That's a bit of that's breaking down there, it's fine. So I'm just going to place this here on my uncut lawn and grab a watering can and just lightly have the water coming out already. Just lightly wet that. You want the compost to be moist when you're putting your seed in. It's easier sometimes to have it moist and then to dampen the top layer of compost you put over it. Easier to have the compost moist initially. And so you can see there's my sunflower seeds. So I'm just gonna lay them down. And again, you know, this is not their final resting place or anything like that. So they're going to be moved on, obviously. So you can have them fairly close. I wouldn't, you know, because by the time they get to the size where they would potentially be touching, they'll be gone out of there anyway. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. That seed is probably a dud. And I suppose when you are collecting the seeds yourself, you probably will have a few duds. Seeds that won't germinate for you for whatever reason, but that's, you know, you can get that in bought seed as well. So but just have a feel of them. If they feel very soft and they squash in you, but there's a bit of rigidity to them, it should be okay. Now I think that's more than enough sunflower seeds, because really, you know, these guys grow to about 2 meters in height, so you don't want too many of them either. So again, I'm just going to do a light sprinkling of soil over those. Sometimes for the larger seeds like that, they can take a little bit more. They can be a bit deeper than we'd say some of your thinner seeds. Okay, so, and again, any lumps like that, you can try and break them up or take them off, because again, they can, if they're too hard, they can hinder the seedling coming up through the soil. Most of those seedlings will push their way up regardless anyway, but just to, you know, make it as easy as you can for them. And I'll use a sprayer then, just to spray the top of that rather than giving it another bash of the watering can, because that can dislodge seeds as well. So again, this one here should have a label with it. I think, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so there's my label for that one, and we'll pop that in. So now that's very straightforward. I'm going to be popping these in a little miniature plastic greenhouse that I'm not getting until tomorrow, but again, they'll be fine overnight outside, and I'll pop them into that then, just to keep them a little bit warmer at night and during the day as well. So I'll just get these other seed trays filled. So this is just to give you an example of a slightly different type of seed. This is the marigold seed. So I have my 2 different varieties down. So as I said, I have 2 different varieties. I have them separated just by a little divider there. So that's your Tagetes Pachellinana, obviously the marigold, and that's a marigold. Then it's a Dainty Marietta, I think is a French marigold. They're both French marigolds actually. But again, it'll be interesting. These are seeds that I collected from my own marigolds last year, and this is a new bought one as well. So we'll see what the difference are between them. So again, they don't need to be buried so deep. So just a light little sprinkling of compost over. And again, very same principle. Any lumps like that, you want to break them up after 2. If they don't break up for you, just, you know, like the likes of something like that, just take that out, throw it into the soil there. But make sure you leave your divider there, or you can take it out again and lift it, just to make sure you know where the divide is between the 2 sets of plants, and it just makes it easier. So again, it's a fairly straightforward process. The soil was damp. I had wet the soil there as well, so that's kind of it. So I'm going to follow the same process for the rest of the seed trays, and I'll show you the finished product then when I have them all done. So that's 4 or 5 different types of seed I have planted up there. So I have my mallow here, I have my sunflower, I have my honesty wildflower, and I have my 2 different types of marigold planted here. So again, I have a few more to do, but I'll get on with them. But again, it's essentially the same principle. So I have these sown now, so it's important that I keep them them moist. You don't want them sitting in too much moisture either, because that can hinder germination. So again, as I said, I'm going to put them in a small little plastic greenhouse thing, which will increase the temperature. Hopefully we get a few more sunny days, and that will help bring them on as well. And we'll check back with them in a couple of weeks and see how they're getting on. Usually it'll take 14 to 21 days before you see any activity, so it's not going to be too exciting just yet, but it'll be great once they start to germinate, and then you can make a plan for where you're going to put them. Obviously it's a good idea to have a plan for where they're going to go before you sow them, but again, if you don't, that's fine as well. So yeah, we'll leave it at that for today, and I'll get on with my sowing here. Lots of work to do. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.